Colleen, do you want to go ahead and introduce? I don't have my bell with me here in North Carolina. So, no, I'm not in North Carolina. I'm in Virginia.
Do you want to exit
too much of the SCOTUS stuff.
Screen, Missy?
Should I undo my screen?
Yep.
Yes, please.
There we go.
Okay. Would you like me to introduce our guests?
Please.
I shall. Mike Brennan. Wave, Mike, so we can all, I see you. Mike, are you still going by Replay Destinations?
Well, I mean, technically that's our parent company, but I just work for
Mill District?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Martha O'Keefe. Hi, Martha. Can you wave your welcome? Welcome to our Sunrise Club. And I think that's it. I think those are our only two guests.
Okay.
May I introduce Martha and have her speak for just a moment?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Martha O'Keefe is with the Rotary Club of Snowmass, Colorado. And she very generously came to us about 4 years ago and requested an auction swap. So Lance and Barbara Cottrell give up their beautiful home in Healdsburg, and we're able to give that to Martha, and her club auctions it off at their annual fundraiser. And then in turn, they give us 3 nights at Snowmass, Colorado that we can use for the Drew Esquivel Memorial Scholarship Golf Tournament auction. So Martha, do you want to say a couple of things? Tell us a little bit about your club.
Our club, our annual fundraiser, which we weren't able to have this year, is a wine festival, and we have it the third weekend in September, and we have a winemaker's dinner the Friday night that generally we have about 180 in attendance. And then we have the wine festival on a Saturday, and that goes from like 1:30 to 5 with a silent auction and music. And we usually have about, about 1,000 in attendance for that. So between our sponsorships and the auction and the attendance, and our attendance is fairly reasonable. It's usually about 85 to 90. I think we're going to push it up to 90 per person. And then the day of it goes up a little bit. But we usually, pardon me? And so usually we're raising about 135,000 a year. So we do quite well with that. And thanks to you guys, that's always our big live auction. We auction that off at the dinner, the trip to Healdsburg. And I actually have a place in Healdsburg that we rent out. So someday when I retire, I'll definitely be out there in the winters. I don't like winter anymore, but Diane and I grew up in the same area. We went to the same high school. I grew up in Marin.
Nice. Now you're Rotary sisters. Well, thanks, Diane, for bringing Martha to the meeting. And I'm off kilter here. I forgot to start the meeting with an inspiration from Terry Tremblay. Good morning, Terry. You're on mute. Terry, unmute yourself.
I muted everyone just because there was a lot of background noise happening.
Okay.
There, is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, the inspiration. Never be afraid to try something new. Remember that a lone amateur built the Ark and a large group of professionals built the Titanic. We credit that to Dave Barry.
Bada bing. That's great. To add to that, today, October 14th, in addition to being the day after my daughter and son-in-law's 15th wedding anniversary, today is also National Dessert Day, and it's National Fossil Day, and it's National Pet Obesity Awareness Day. So you might just give some thought to which of those days you relate to most closely. I've been thinking about dessert since yesterday. I've got to make some dessert. So anyway, I don't have my bell, so I'll ding our lamp. So I would like to start the reports, committee reports today with Jay, who would like to update us on the trunk or treat and the children's playground at the community school, right?
Yes. So this has been quite a journey to codify, if you will, Halloween. The way it's worked out, I'll give you the short of it. It's turned into a drive-through. The city would not go for a walkthrough, although the community church is doing a walkthrough, and they've got that very well organized. They've got 90 participants to date. They've got a potential for 135. And because that's so well organized, we're going to do our event separately. So there'll be two events, one a drive-through, one a walkthrough. The location has been changed because we're anticipating it being smaller now, because probably a third of the participants are now over at the church. So it's going to be at the community center, just like we did for the 4th of July. They are asking us to do two things, which I volunteered us for, and you can back off now if you want, but they'll be a repository for the treats donated by the community. We will package those into handouts. The other thing we need to do is organize the trunk participants. So we'll do a registry of them. And I am coordinating with them to do the promotion. So it's going to be, and I kind of insisted on this, that it's going to be led by the community services rather than us. So I wanted it to be branded to make it perfectly clear that Rotary is not sponsoring this based on their inability to insure for COVID-related claims against the club. So those are the two things. I will be sending out a memo to this effect to all the members, because we're going to need to be, like we do on the 4th, all hands on deck. But I don't think it's going to be particularly arduous. We'll have to be a little more disciplined about the sanitation procedures when we're packaging things up, and there'll be more of those. I anticipate there being something on the order of between 400 and 500 children coming through, but that would mean probably 300 cars. I think we had something like 200 to 250 come through on the 4th of July. This Saturday, Lee is heading up a construction project with Dan at the, he looks wide-eyed, at the North Bay Children's Center at Fitch Mountain Elementary School. And he's going to need help on that. We're going to keep the crews down to 2 or 3, maybe 4 people in each one. We're going to have 2 crews. It'll be a multi-day activity. The kinds of skills that are required are basically chainsaws and a little bit of hammer and chisels and that kind of stuff. We're going to be converting a redwood tree and peeler core posts into a play area. And I'll send out a promotion for that later today. And
oh my gosh.
And if I need to know how many of us will show up for this Saturday, because if we don't have enough people, then I'll reach out to through next door to populate that. The third thing that's going on is that with Andy Estrag, the Rotary Environmental Sustainability Action Group is heating up in terms of the action they want to do. I've proposed to them that we do something related to regreening Sonoma based on the fact that all our hills have been burnt to the crisp. And if you haven't read your current Rotary magazine, there's a wonderful article on butterflies, specifically monarchs. In California, our monarch population has been reduced by 98%. We have only 2% of the monarch butterflies left. So part of this would be planting milkweed and other insect and pollinator attracting plants. We might expand that to include tree planting. We have a meeting tomorrow to discuss that, but I think it's going to become something of a district-wide movement. So I'll keep you appraised of how that goes, but it's really getting some traction. So thank you.
There we go. Thanks, Jay. Boy, lots going on, and hopefully you will get a big enough crew this Saturday. Richard will not be able to help because he's with me. One thing I want to ask, last week a bunch of people offered some donations to our Sonoma Family Meal Project to match our district grant. But chat room got taken down before we could record the names and the amounts of donations. So could you either send me an email or chat, put it on the chat room, and we'll take a copy of that before we close the meeting today, because I have no idea who donated, but I know we had enough money to meet our match, and that was very exciting. So if you could just post that again, I would really appreciate it. And then today, Lance, before we take down the chat room, let's make sure we get a copy of it.
And I suspect a lot of people have also already donated, and so Terry may have some records on that.
Okay, I was going to send an email out, but I didn't get to it. Yeah, so just be sure to say this is for Sonoma Family Meal District Grant, and then Terry will know. Is there anything that, Andy, do you want to mention the Rotary Exchange student who we have selected? Is Andy around today?
He was. Yes.
Oh, there he is.
Actually, a couple quick updates. First of all, just wanted to give everybody an update on the Interact Club Drive for the Homeless. Items are starting to come in. Thank you for all those of you that have brought items by, but you still have plenty of time. We're collecting material until November 16th. And if you forgot the list of items that we're gathering, let me know. I can resend out the email to you, but please contribute if you're able. And then the other thing, me, Chris Cameron, and Larry Mills had a very good interview with a candidate last week. We were concerned that because of the pandemic, we would not get any candidates for the Youth Exchange Program. But we did get one, and we had an excellent interview with her and her parents. And we put forward her name to the district. Her name is Alina Sadagian. She is a junior at Healdsburg High School. And now she has a lot of work between now and the end of February to complete the process. She has to get her visa, get her medical records, and yada, yada, yada. But I think she'll be a great ambassador for our club and for our country.
Does she have a particular country that she wants to move too for that period?
Interestingly enough, she's interested in South Korea,
Huh.
which is where Truman
And-
went.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that. That means I really need to kick in my my vetting, get that done.
Yes.
So that sounds great. I'm very excited. We're going to get to do that. Mark, do you have anything to update us regarding choices?
Yes, I was going to I was going to ask for a little bit of time if you didn't provide me any. I did talk with Leo Mueller about a month ago, and they are finalizing choices to be done in a remote sort of platform. And they had, when I talked to them last, they were still trying to figure out exactly how that was going to work out. What sort of platform they were going to use and how they were going to shape up the program. He had told me that they would be coming to some sort of decision by mid-October or so. But the bottom line is they're going to do, the sessions will be 45 minutes. They'll be done remotely, and all of the sort of technical details were in the process of being worked out. There was just an article in the Healdsburg paper saying that the school will remain with distance learning at least through this semester, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just planning that they're going to probably be distance learning all year long, and even if they're not distance learning, they may have qualms about letting us on campus. So I think we're going to have to kind of look at this as something that we're going to be doing remotely. Just as a reminder to everyone, we did not do choices last year because of COVID. And so this year we have the opportunity to do choices to two different classes, the 7th grade class and the 8th grade class, as I mentioned in my last update. Normally we do it with the 7th grade class, but since last year's 7th grade class was not involved, we would do it with this year's 8th grade class as well. I do have to ask, I wanted to ask if someone would be, at least just for this year, willing to take over the program. The reason is I am going to be working, I'm going to be working full-time from January to May, covering somebody who's on maternity leave, and it's going to be a fairly inflexible schedule, and the choices is going to overlap with teacher appreciation, and I also am working with the mentoring program, so I don't think I'll be able to handle all three of those and work full time. So I'm wondering if anyone would be willing to take over choices for this year, since I'm going to have less free time to work on that this year. So please think about that. And that's the update.
When does your time crunch begin, Mark?
January 11th to May 3rd.
Okay.
And so I probably won't be able to attend these meetings anymore during that period of time either.
Well, you better get your sweet Dan on board here.
Yeah.
Your sub.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for doing that. And we have a little bit of time to get someone on board for that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that same person will step into Colleen's shoes to be sergeant at arms. We're looking for a couple of important shoes to fill. High heels and flats. So, okay. Does anyone else have any committee reports? Membership, community service? I know Jay just updated us on a bunch of stuff. Let me just share my screen if there is no one else having anything to share. Am I missing? Did somebody raise their hand?
No. You're good.
Oh, okay. Let me see. So I'm not very good at this, so y'all please come on,
Yeah,
baby.
I just wanted you to know Brad Benson is in the house.
Hi, Brad. I did see Brad. How's the weather in Tennessee, Brad?
It's beautiful. Be about 75 degrees today, sunshine. We did get about 4 inches of rain from Delta though, so the lower part of our land's still a little soggy.
Oh, that's probably why we had rain yesterday. I mean, earlier this week, right?
Yep.
Am I sharing the screen?
You are not.
I am such a piece of work here.
Do you want me to fill for you while you're looking for that, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Let me just take the mic for a second. Thank you, President Nancy. So there's a couple of people who have birthdays. And one of those people is in charge of a work crew coming up this weekend, and that would be Lee Morton. His birthday is October the 16th. Lee, happy birthday. And how would you like us to recognize your spectacular birthday? I'm sure you're 21 again, right? First time drinking? He's gone mute. I say we charge him $50 for not responding quickly when prompted by the Sergeant at Arms. And then Ed McCutcheon, October 20th, another Libra. Look how blessed we are to have so many Libras in our midst. Ed,
Elaine,
would you like to donate to the pantry?
we have some new stuff, dried persimmons and other things.
Nice.
And actually hot sauces.
Wow.
So if we want to throw them into Nancy with the other things and then have a little auction within the club to raise some money, that might be the little idea.
I like that.
Yeah,
I might even throw in a Booker wine, which is like gold to me. Diane knows this. So I'd be happy to donate one bottle of my beloved Booker wine Pinot for this. But congratulations to those of you having birthdays. And Will Seppi, you don't show up to meetings, but when you do, you're loud and we're welcome that you're here. Thank you.
Colleen?
Yes.
Colleen? Hey, I had a birthday about a month ago, and I will make a contribution to the club with the number of dollars of my most recent birthday.
20? Wow, Mark.
Yeah, it's not much.
Thank you. I was hoping Seppi would also do that, but anywho's, okay, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, so how are we doing time-wise? Let's see. My clock here says 10:30, but it's 7:28. I just wanted to run the calendar by y'all real fast. You can see it now, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to still do trunk or treat, yes, but it's going to be slightly different than what we had planned. I'd like to remind everybody on November 4th, Senator McGuire will be our guest speaker, followed by Mary Roddy, who is Diane Booker's sister on genealogy. November 18th, we are not meeting because we are all going to be at our SCARC event on November 19th. And CAL FIRE Air Attack will be our guest speaker, talking to the entire district. And if you have ideas on what you would like to hear about from the CAL FIRE Air Attack crew, please let me know. And we will work that into their presentation. We still need to decide if there's going to be a board meeting for or when it will be, and on and on. Anyway, so that's it. Nothing earth-shattering there. Terry's going to be doing our craft talk today. I also wanted quickly to touch on the social groups. The blue group, I understand you guys are in the process of trying to come up with something to do, however you choose to do it. This is who is the blue group. Larry Mills has been added because our beloved Bert forgot to include him on a team. Tragic. The yellow group, which was my team, we actually met at my house, very socially distanced, and everybody brought their own food. And we'll try to catch up with Archie and Larry on another event. The green group, Jay, Chris, Cameron, Lance, Jack, Dan, and Fred. I know some of you are not willing to get together socially yet, but hopefully those who are will get that going. There are many ways to do it without putting yourself in jeopardy. The purple group met at Dan Erickson's, also very well distanced, and he bought food from the chicken dinners from the Farm Bureau fundraiser, which was a cute way to feed everybody. The orange group, Mark, Lance, George Dutton. I know George would like to get together with folks.
I just noticed I'm in 2 groups.
Well, pick one. The A list and the B list. Red group, Chris Call, Colleen, Bonnie, who I think is moving, Bob Mosby and Sean. Those folks all seem to want to get together. And that's it. Oh, and here's the list for the care packages. And we will send those out again for people to get that going over to Andy before November 16th, I think he said. Let's see, we already did Wild Thing. So I am going to end the slideshow. And all right, everybody. So Terry Tremblay.
Yes, President Nancy.
Terry, you are giving us a craft talk today.
All right.
And after that, we will introduce Mike Brennan.
Okay, craft talk. Kathy and I have been married for 52 years. We have 2 sons, Matthew in Richmond, Texas, and David in Santa Cruz. We've lived in Healdsburg for 27 years. Prior to that, we lived in St. Helena and Gualala. I was raised in Folsom and Santa Rosa, where I attended high school. And my father was orphaned at the age of 13, and consequently, we knew very little about the family history or origin. He used to tell us that as far as he knew, the family came from Canada, and they must have been horse thieves or outlaws because they never talked about themselves. And when my first grandson was born, I thought that someday he might ask about the family history. So I started to do a little research. And I discovered that the first Tremblays arrived in Sonoma County in 1870 and came from the small village of Bay St. Paul in Quebec on the St. Lawrence Seaway, about 2 hours east of Quebec City. The family farmed several ranches in Sonoma County over the next 80 years or so. And I dug a little deeper in the family research, family line, and I was able to take it all the way back to the year 1153 to Bernard de Tremblay, who was the 4th Grand Master of the Knights Templar, and quite literally lost his head in the Crusades when he decided to attack the Muslim city of Ascalon in Palestine. Interesting bit of history there. I attended Santa Rosa Junior College right out of high school and was considering a major in marine biology at San Diego State. When the plan changed after I dropped a chemistry class, my last semester at JC in the pursuit of more skin diving and scuba diving on the coast. My aunt was on the Sonoma County Draft Board at the time, And she phoned me and said I was going to go into the Army the next month. And that didn't really appeal to me. It almost guaranteed a trip to Southeast Asia, which I really didn't want to do. So I reviewed my options at the time and decided that a 2-year stint in the Navy Reserve was a better choice and allowed me to complete the lost chemistry class and graduate from JC. And as a bonus, I still got the trip to Southeast Asia, but I was on a big ship, and the only danger I faced was getting a paper cut when I loaded my typewriter. Kathy and I were married in Sonoma after I returned from the service, and I took a job with Bank of America as an operations officer. After a couple of years with the bank, I decided that I didn't really like working in a large organization. So I took my father up on his offer to go to work in the retail lumber and hardware business in Gualala. And after joining that business, after a few years, my father decided to retire, and I purchased the business from him and ran it for several years. While doing that, I also started a wholesale lumber business with a partner in St. Helena, and where he lived. And I was commuting back and forth between Gualala and St. Helena a couple days a week, which was about a 2-hour plus drive. So that was kind of arduous. And one day when our oldest son, Matthew, came home from second grade and told his mother that he wanted to grow up and drive a logging truck when he grew up, my wife told me we were going to move. So we moved to St. Helena, and I continued to commute back and forth for a while, for a couple of years, and ended up selling both businesses and started looking for another career. Interesting sideline, while we were in St. Helena, a couple friends and I started to make a Merlot wine in our garage, and we put a photograph of Marilyn Monroe on the label and called it Marilyn Merlot. And we were doing a couple hundred cases a year out of the garage when a group of wine marketing people suggested we try it commercially. So we decided to do that, and we submitted for label approval to BATF. And Robert Parker from the Wine Spectator got wind of it and mentioned it in his column, saying that, can you believe that a group of people in the Napa Valley with such poor taste as to put the image of a dead celebrity who died of substance abuse on a wine label? Well, after we got that mention, the phone started ringing off the hook, and we started selling wine. It was a fun venture for me. It's not really something that I knew much about prior to that, but we did about 2,500 cases a year of Napa Valley wine. One year we did 10,000 cases of French Merlot. Went to France and purchased wine there. So it was a fun adventure. But I was still looking for a career. I still didn't have my next career lined up. So at the age of 34, I enrolled as a full-time student at Sonoma State, and with a major in finance and an emphasis in accounting. I had 2 close friends who were CPAs, and I thought that might be what I wanted to do next. But at the end of the second year at Sonoma State, Kathy and I decided to build a new house for ourselves in St. Helena. And I thought it would be fun to work with a couple of carpenter friends on the house who knew what they were doing and could help me, guide me through the process. and I really enjoyed working with these two individuals. So I purchased a couple of lots in Calistoga, and so we could build a couple of spec houses together. And that was a great process. My two friends moved on, but I continued to purchase land and build houses over the next 20 years in Sonoma, Napa, Marin counties. I built somewhere between 450 and 500 houses before I retired in 2007. Sometimes the projects were with partners who provided financing or property. Sometimes they were on my own. I keep busy now doing projects around the house, spending as much time as we can with the grandkids, and doing some bookkeeping for the Rotary Club. That's about it.
Terry, thank you. You are quite the raconteur. And very interesting background. And maybe when Diane's sister talks about genealogy, we can get you to follow up and help us figure out how to research our families, because that was quite amazing. I'm sure I studied the about your relative during the Crusades when I was in Catholic school, because that's all we learned about were the Crusades. Anyway, thank you so much. I love craft talks.
Good.
I love to learn about our members, and I thought it'd be a good thing this year to get everybody kind of caught up on that. One thing I wanted to mention before I introduce Mike Brennan is yesterday Larry Mills sent an excerpt, an opinion piece from a Rotarian from Windsor about the four-way test. And it was really interesting how he wove it into what is going on in our world today. I also sent a letter or a YouTube video from our district governor, Doug Johnson, who is promoting a leadership academy. And tomorrow is the last day to sign up. And I've attended a couple of these academies through Rotary, and they're really, really wonderful. And the one thing they emphasized in one of these leadership academies was how to use the four-way test to work through issues in your own life. And I really enjoyed tying that experience I had in the Leadership Academy to what I read in the opinion piece. And I hope that you all have that opportunity to either think about joining the Leadership Academy. It's free because of some extra money that Rotary has, or at least reading the opinion piece on how to work our four-way test into our own lives. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Is it beneficial to all? And will it build goodwill and better friendships? I think those are the four. Is that right, Lance?
That
Did I get it?
Close enough.
I still have my coin. Anyway, that's my little advertisement for today about our Leadership Academy. And so with that,
I might jump in quickly, Nancy. I did sign up for the Leadership Academy. I'm not aware of anybody else from our club who signed up. Let me just tout it a little bit. I was very impressed with the organization of the Academy, which actually extends over months. And there are, several hours a month on various topics of Rotary. So I'm looking forward to learning more about Rotary through the Leadership Academy. And I don't think you can sign up. They don't make real clear whether you have to complete all modules. I mean, they intend you to complete all modules, but I think you can just sample if you want to. So anyway, just you might look into the Leadership Academy. The materials look pretty good.
Yeah, I'll second that. I took it a few years back, and it was a really impressive experience. Lots of good materials, not just Rotary focused, but things that were applicable in all sorts of aspects of work and personal connections.
Yeah, conflict resolution, diversity. I mean, it was really wonderful. So, okay, well, thanks, gentlemen, for seconding that emotion. Anyway, Mike Brennan is our guest speaker for today, and many of us have heard from Mike in the past. He visited us a couple years ago with charts and all kinds of things about Mill District. So I'm going to just introduce him briefly. Mike's family spans 6 generations in Sonoma County. Perhaps you knew the Tremblays. His great-grandparents immigrated to Petaluma in 1896. After graduating from Pioneer High in Santa Rosa, Mike went to the JC for a year, then on to Sac State for 2 more before finishing his final 2 years at Texas Christian University. After college, Mike moved to North Carolina to work for a restaurant development company where he opened 5 large microbrewery restaurants before moving back to California and opening a restaurant in Marin. In 2000, he left hospitality to work in sales for Pfizer and, is it Allergan?
Allergan, yeah.
Silicon Valley. In 2004, Mike moved to Naples, Florida to work for then the largest private developer in the Southeast. There, Mike built and managed sales teams and focused on developing high-end golf course communities. Mike moved back to Windsor in 2015, and in 2017 began talking to Dave Hill from Replay on how he might be able to help lead the sales and marketing effort for Mill District. Mike has been Director of Sales for Mill District since March of 2018. And Mike, take it away.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Nancy. I was going to say, I don't know the Tremblays, but listening to Terry talk, I hope I can have as full and interesting of a life as he's had. That's quite impressive. So thanks, everybody, for letting me join you. I just was going to give you a brief update on where we're at. It's pretty exciting, actually, because, you know, as you drive by and see the site that's been sitting there next to the roundabout and the buildings have been demolished and we've kind of sat there, people are asking questions, what's going on? I even heard somebody within the city that works for the city decided to start a rumor that we sold the place. I've had several phone calls from a few people. I thought that was interesting. So as I said, you know, in Healdsburg, all you got to do is start a quick rumor and everybody in town will know, and by the end of the day. So that was a false rumor. We have not sold it and are not selling. We're selling the real estate, but we're not selling the development. So, but things are moving at a rapid pace now. So after the time and delays and getting through all of our approvals and final approvals, we, over the past probably 90 days have been moving at breakneck speed. On the other side of my desk here, I have a 70-page plans of every floor plan, and we've gone through each and every one to finalize and check off. And those are now going back this afternoon to the architect for a final blessing, and we're tweaking those, and we'll have some actual floor plans that we're going to share with our reservation holders soon. So what we did is we started a process. I'm actually going to share the screen too, if I can grab that. I think I can. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, we started a process back in July. We've had a number of people that have expressed interest over time as to being first to potentially purchase real estate here. So we have been taking reservations, which is a process by which most condominium developments market and sell pre-construction real estate. And what that means is we're taking $25,000 refundable deposits right now. We've had a lot of interest in those. We only have 39 units. Those are actually held in title with Fidelity National Title here in town. So, you know, as a developer, we don't see or touch the money. So it gives people the opportunity to kind of put them in the driver's seat and have control over being the first to take a look at some of what we're going to provide and be the first to make selections. So that's very exciting for me as being in sales. So I'm talking to lots of interested people, and primarily I will say this, that 90% of the people that we're working with right now are people that either live in Healdsburg, have family in Healdsburg, or friends in Healdsburg, which is very exciting because our whole intention has been that this would be filled with people rather than just, there was always a concern that this may be people that are just from Marin or Silicon Valley buying weekend real estate. That may be very well the case for some, but what we're seeing is really a tremendous amount of people from Dry Creek, Alexander Valley, West Side, East Side roads, downsizing. We're seeing a lot of folks that are older who have larger estates, 20 acres, 30 acres, larger homes, and they're just tired of it. They want to kind of lock and leave lifestyle. They want to move on and travel when we can get back to traveling, go visit their grandkids and things. So it's been very exciting how much we've seen. So just as a quick update where we're at, if you can see that, so if you can see my cursor moving in the hotel here, we have selected our hotel partner. We are not announcing that for probably another couple of weeks. We're finalizing. There's too many lawyers involved right now. The physical structure of this will change a little bit. We're going to be adding some like rooftop outdoor space, a little more outdoor area in the pool area that's going to be expanded, and then the actual physical features will change just a little bit here within the hotel. So it's 53 rooms. I think everybody may have already known that. And then with the residences themselves, 138 total. And then our 40 unit apartment complex, which sits just adjacent to the McDonald's back here. That'll be run and operated by Eden Housing, which has Foss Creek Apartments across from the fire station now. I won't get off on a long tangent, but if those of you that do understand and know that there is a growth management ordinance in town, we as a developer would like to build this faster, and we could build more of a variety of a product if that were amended or done away with altogether eventually. And in 2022, we hope that there will be on the ballot. We're only allowed to build so much over time. So we can only build, this project could take up to 12 years based on the current rules and regulations in Healdsburg. So I think many people in town would like us to get done faster. So we're hoping that that'll happen. But the first phase is 39 residences. These are our best residences, I think. These are along the redwood trees here. I'll get into a little more detail and share with you what these actually, the designs look like. So we're using an architectural firm, Olson Kundig. They're very well known for doing, out of Seattle, they do a lot of very bespoke, one-off custom homes. The idea and inspiration behind this was to create a lot of indoor, outdoor space in living. I'm just gonna flip over real quick. This is a home in Idaho that they built. And I just want to share with you. So you see the floor to ceiling windows, the exposed beams here. This is a lot of this is used as inspiration. This gives you a very good sense of what you're going to see in many of our residences. This floor to ceiling glass, the exposed steel beams. It's the design elements on this are, I wouldn't call it modern, but more contemporary in many respects. It's all designed to be about indoor outdoor living. So we have 3 buildings in the first phase. These are there's 2 of these that we call affectionately the twins. These are identical buildings. There are 14 residences in each one of these, and there's a third building with 11 residences. And I'll show you what those will be like. But these are the count of them. They're essentially from small what I refer to as little crash pad studios on up to very large, well-appointed luxury penthouses, which we have 5 of, and then there's kind of everything in between. But again, designing these really to take advantage of Healdsburg and why we all live up here and the indoor-outdoor living. These all have built-in kitchens and barbecues and ample space, even the smallest units. But some of the larger units, to give you an example, like these penthouses have 1,500 square foot of outdoor deck space. The downstairs here is 634 square feet of outdoor space. So there's a lot of space for people to enjoy, even in a multifamily condominium type of building. This gives you a little bit of a peek on the design from the interior of this would be like looking out through the buildings back towards Healdsburg Avenue. And the way that these are designed is so that the buildings from the front feel very different than the back. The back is all the glass and drama, and the front, we make the building appear almost like a 2-story. So it's 2 levels of concrete, and then a 3rd level, which is cantilevered out, which is a metallic bronze wrapped around the building. And then the 4th level, which is the penthouses are tucked back, and then they have large shed roofs hanging over them. So from interior of the community, it feels a little softer. And this will give you a sense on, as I showed you these photos here, the interior of this, if you can start to see the same bit of style, the use of the steel in these. The construction, by the way, of these buildings is all steel. There is no wood in the construction of this other than some decorative wood soffits that hang out over the shed roof. Other than that, this is complete steel and concrete construction. Also, I didn't mention, this is all underground parking throughout the entire site as well. So we're removing the cars as much as possible. But this gives you a sense, this is one of the larger spaces, again, the floor to ceiling, and then give you a sense on the styling of the interior, more of the European style cabinetry, hardwoods throughout, different styles, large stone, lots of natural products throughout. They're very clean. The design of these is supposed to be very clean, not very busy. Almost a resort style living that people will enjoy. And then just to give you a sense on where we're at. So as I mentioned, we have 39 units. We were approved for 40, but we removed 1 to build an office for our on-site management and actually an Amazon package delivery office as well, because of the world that we live in. So from the small studios on up to our 1-bedrooms, 2s, 3s, and then going up to the very large, the largest unit, which is 3,700 square feet, which is a single penthouse that sits on top of one of the buildings by itself, which is our largest residence. The expected price range on these is going to be anywhere from about $800,000 from our studios to the most expensive penthouse, which will be somewhere near $5 million, and everything in between as you move up. It's comparable to price ranges you'd see in Healdsburg. It'll be very much more on the higher end as well, though. And I often tell people that when you look at Healdsburg, it's kind of apples and oranges, because what we're building is brand new. Underground parking, steel construction, and then obviously just the time and effort to get this thing approved. So they'll be on the most expensive side of what you'll see in Healdsburg. But we're delivering a product that is unparalleled to anywhere else, I think. So that's the update for everything. Give you a bit of the timeline. As I was saying, we're right here in our hotel selection, taking our priority reservations. We'll be doing selection probably sometime in the next 30 to 60 days, where people will be able to actually select residences. We're going to have some information out to them very shortly. and they'll be able to do some selections over the winter, and then we'll actually do sales contracts when the buildings start construction in March. And we're scheduled that the first buildings should be done by Thanksgiving to Christmas of 2022. So starting now, we're a little more than 2 years away from completion. The hotel will probably drip into 2023 Q1 sometime. So I hope that gives everybody a good update. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Looking, you have a lot of roof space. How much of that is devoted to solar, and what other green technologies are you employing?
Good question. So we have a minimum amount of solar we're required, which is 10,000 square feet of solar roof. We'll exceed that. When you say green technology, so I can't get into the specifics because I don't know all the preferred nomenclature, but I can tell you that we're working with Swinnerton, our construction company, and the use of materials that we have. We're working with as much sustainable material as we can, but from water reclamation on the site, we're using certain, we're called Silva-Cell technologies to help reclaim water, to use that for landscaping. So we're using a tremendous amount of the latest technology we can. And even to go above that, since we're talking about different technology, we're doing some things that, including in the garage itself, where we're adding electric stations to install garage, and we have 36 charging stations with dual adapters. So every single car in the garage could be electric at some point. In addition to that, some of the latest technology that's being employed, which is, God, I can't even think of the term that's being used now. I'm missing it. But in respect to fires, the fact that these are all steel buildings, some suppression systems, obviously interior by law, but we're also looking at, we've tested and are looking at a couple of options on some exterior suppression systems. And then one of the biggest issues when it goes back to green technology is battery backup versus use of generator backup, because we need to have some sort of emergency power. So we've actually have a huge test in progress, and that's both testing not only the financial wherewithal, but also the capacity of powering these buildings and how much we would power of them. Would we just power the elevators and common areas, or would we actually power all the units if we could, and what that would take to do it? So could we use battery or versus generators? Hi.
I have a question. Mike, I actually live in the Roaring Fork Valley, Aspen Snowmass area in Colorado, and I'm in construction. I'm a controller for a general contractor, but the city of Aspen requires our developers many times to provide employee housing when they do these developments. Is that a requirement of Healdsburg? Just to do employee housing,
It's
lower
not,
income?
Yeah, employee housing is not direct requirement. A affordable housing component is required in all developments, pretty much in California, unless there's in lieu fees. We are building within the community. We have a 40-unit apartment complex that is affordable. Colleen probably knows the term better than I do, what it is. I think it's the there's tiers of affordability, and ours is on the lower end. So I think the most expensive unit in there will be like something like $1,500 a month. So it's designed to, we would love it for it to be affordable. I mean, my vision is that people working in the hotel would have the opportunity to live there and be able to walk to work, but it's walkable to anywhere in downtown.
So but it's a rental. It's not for purchase.
Yeah, we're not using those like specifically leasing those for employees. Yeah. it's not like dormitory housing. I understand what you're, especially in the ski resort area, they have to do all that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Mike, I have a question about going back to parking. Is it one parking space per residential unit or two, or does it vary? And also, being a real estate broker, I'm common to see garages that are so packed with stuff, you can't get one car into a two-car garage, let alone two cars. So are there any provisions for storage facilities in your development?
Larry, all good questions. So it varies. There'll be 2 spots per resident, with the exception of our smallest residents. The studios and 1-bedrooms only have 1 spot. 2 for everything else. Storage, yeah, you're not going to be storing in parking areas. We actually we have 2 different storage designs within the garage themselves, an adjacent storage area that will have lockers, and then we're also it's the company's called USI, and they're these steel boxes, and they're actually really sleek designs, and they're quite large. I mean, you could stuff a couple of bodies in them. They're big. 5 sets of golf clubs, that kind of thing. And they the way that they have them is so that almost like the front of your car goes in, and they sit like this. So they're probably 6 or 8 feet long, a couple feet wide, and a few feet deep. And we are, Jim, our construction manager, has been trying to figure out how do we remove the legs and just bolt them right to the walls, so that they basically become like a low profile storage within the garage. So there'll be a couple of different opportunities for storage for people. I mean, that's a big question. I mean, in a multifamily living, it's not like you have your own garage where, I mean, in my garage, I have a 3-car garage, and 1 car of that is nothing but golf clubs, bikes, and crap. And so, yeah, it's stuff.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I do. Can you tell us, are there any restaurants that are a part of the whole Mill District complex and what they might be?
Yeah, so I don't have a final answer. There will be. I don't have the answer for you. So we have a couple of spaces identified within the hotel. The hotel's in 2 buildings. There's one that parallels the tracks, and one that parallels Healdsburg Avenue. The one that fronts Healdsburg Avenue is our hope and design that we've always had, to create a kind of a casual dining experience attached to what we call a velo club, a cycling club. And the best way to explain this is, if anybody's ever been in Santa Rosa, there's a place called Trail House near Howard Park. And it's really kind of for the mountain biker. And it's this cool little kind of coffee shop. And in the back, they have like a bike shop. And they have a mechanic and everything, because there's a lot of people that go riding in Annandale. And with the cycling that we've attached ourselves kind of to the cycling world up here, because that's a big area of draw of people globally to come to Healdsburg. There are thousands of people that come and cycle. And while I don't, my boss is a massive cyclist. So we started, connecting. We connected with you guys when you did your cycling event a year and a half ago. We've done a bunch of cycling events. And so our idea is to create a very cool kind of pub-like casual place, not just for cyclists, but for anybody in town to go and have that. There'll probably be a bit more of a fine dining within the other part of the hotel. We have a chef that is our kind of our culinary lead. His name's Matt Accarino. Matt owns SPQR on Fillmore in San Francisco, which is a 9-time Michelin star restaurant. He's also one of the coolest, most amazing guys I've ever met, and a great chef. And he and his wife are hopefully moving to Occidental very soon. And he'll be a part of helping us complete the vision of all the food and beverage available.
Very exciting stuff going on.
I appreciate the time.
And yeah, we'll be looking for that, the ordinance on the changes possibly to the,
Well, I always mention it. I have no shame in mentioning it. I see Will's on the phone. He and I talk about it endlessly. I mean, I understand there was a reason for doing it 20 years ago, but in today's world, with the redevelopment, I mean, we're supposed to build high density redevelopment, and they're telling us we can only build it over so much time. And I think common sense would dictate you want to get it done faster, and the more we can do that, the better product we can deliver. We could bring more moderate income pricing homes as well. So I hope that we're not going to take, we're not going to be self-serving and lead the effort, but we'll certainly support any changes the town would like to make. I mean, there was, again, sorry to get off on a tangent, but there was 255, I think, unused building permits over the last 20 years. That's millions of dollars of income the city could generate if they wanted to sell those building permits to a few of us developers.
which of the two is the restraint on building affecting the single family units, or is it the apartment building?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the affordable. It's just the pace that we can build. So
Gotcha.
With 138 total that we could build, we only can build 39 now. Then maybe it's 50 next time. That it could be 3 phases of building. So if we can do it, time is the most expensive thing there is in real estate. So if you build that faster and you shrink down your time, then you can build more of a variety of products. And we would like to build some more middle income product as well as part of that. There's plenty of room down there to do a true mixed use development. So, we're excited. We're happy to work with whatever the city will let us work, but I know there's a lot of push behind the scenes to help make some changes. So I have no problem voicing my opinion because I'm a big supporter of more housing.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions for Mike? This project is pretty exciting, right in the middle of our world every time we drive into town.
If anyone, I'm here every day. I'm around. People see me. I'm on my office on Center Street or down at the site. Call me anytime if you want to check it out. I'm available every day, 7 days a week.
One other question. In that site, which was a heavy industrial site, how much remediation of pollution and whatnot did you have to contend with?
Well, there wasn't a lot, to be quite honest with you, because they weren't, it wasn't like a pulp and paper mill. So there wasn't a lot of problems. There was one little spot where they had a shed where they kept like hydraulic fluid and a few things. And so we dug out, we had to dig it out. It was like 10 foot by 20 foot or something. We dug it out, got rid of it, refilled it. It's been blessed by the state. We have no issues at all.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I'm also very excited that our kind of ad hoc bike committee met with Mike a couple weeks ago, and Mike did say Mill District will continue to partner with our bike tour committee. So we will look forward to hopefully doing this in 2021, depending on how COVID goes. So that was really great news. So Mike, thank you so much for talking to us. And on behalf of our club, we will make a donation in your name to our Polio Plus project, which is on its way to eradicating polio. We have 2 countries left with very minor occurrences of polio, which are Pakistan and Afghanistan. So the contribution in your name is going to help. So thank you so much. Next week, our club will be, the presentation will be Yavuz Atala, I believe is his name, or is it a woman? SRAG, from the Environmental and Science, I don't have the acronym committed to memory yet. anyway, that will be our guest speaker next week. And unless we have any other comments, anyone have any comments that we may have, we didn't have time for? No? All right, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining the meeting today. Leanne, it's nice to see you, and it's nice to see our beloved Brad, and nice to meet Martha. Thank you for joining us. Hope I didn't forget anybody. Think about the running the Choices program, and you know, we still have a couple months before Mark has to jump onto his life-saving job. So please think about if you would like to help run Choices this year. I think there are plenty of us who are willing to be part of it. So with that, I will officially end the meeting. Thanks, everybody.